From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday announced that the government's new loan program for tourism enterprises is expected to spur job creation and boost opportunities for small businesses nationwide, reinforcing the industry's role as a vital pillar of the Philippine economy. During the launch of the Turismo Ascenso Loan Program in Pasay City, the President said, "Tourism is now one of the pillars of the country's economy that brings livelihood and progress to thousands of small businesses in every corner of the country." The program, jointly rolled out by the Department of Tourism or DOT and Department of Trade and Industry or DTI through the Small Business Corporation or SB Corp, provides low-interest loans to qualified tourism micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs payable in 3 to 5 years at a fixed rate of 1% monthly interest. 9 businesses from Metro Manila and Calabar Zone were awarded loans of up to 1 million pesos during the ceremony, covering enterprises in accommodations, food services, transport, and tour operations. President Marcos stressed that supporting MSMEs is central to sustaining growth in the tourism sector and ensuring that communities benefit from the rising visitor arrivals. The chief executive also pointed to the global shift toward experiential tourism, saying Filipino hospitality remains the country's edge in attracting visitors.
Isa na ang turismo sa mga haligi ng ating ekonomiya. Nagdadala ito ng kabuhayan at pag-unlad sa libo-libong maliliit na negosyo saan man nasulok ng ating bansa. Sa bawat welcome at mabuhay na sinasambit ng tour guide, sa bawat lutong bahay, sa karinderya, sa bawat serbisyong may ngiti, nariyan kayo. Ang ating mga lokal na negosyante sa turismo. Kayo ang bumubuhay sa industriya ng turismo at tumutulong sa paglago ng ating mga komunidad. Kaya naman, patuloy ang pamahalaan sa pagsulong ng mga programang sumusuporta sa inyo. Isa na rito ang Turismo Ascenso Loan Program na bunga ng pagtutulungan ng Department of Tourism at Department of Trade and Industry, katuwang ang Small Business Corporations. Layunin ng programang ito na gawing mas abot kamay ang puhunan para sa mga MSME sa turismo.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. administered the oath of office to Vince Dizon as the new Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, directing him to root out corruption and end ghost projects in the agency. Dizon replaces Manuel Bonoan, who resigned effective September 1st to take responsibility over alleged anomalies in multi-billion peso flood control projects under his watch. President Marcos earlier said Bonoan stepped down under the principle of command responsibility, while an independent commission will be created through an executive order to probe the irregularities. Dizon, who previously served as presidential advisor on flagship programs and projects and more recently as transportation secretary, played a key role in implementing infrastructure under the Duterte administration's Build, Build, Build program. He was also a prominent figure in the government's COVID-19 pandemic response. President Marcos expressed confidence that Dizon's management skills and track record in large-scale infrastructure development will help restore integrity and efficiency in DPWH operations. Undersecretary Giovanni Lopez will replace Dizon as Transportation Chief. He also took his oath at the palace as Acting Secretary.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said Public Works and Highways Secretary Manuel Bonoan stepped down due to command responsibility for alleged anomalies in multi-billion peso flood control projects, even as Malacañang moved to create an independent commission to probe deeper into the matter. The President has appointed former Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon to replace Bonoan. Dizon took his oath as DPWH Secretary before the President in Malacañang on Monday morning. Malacañang also announced the creation of an independent commission to investigate alleged irregularities in DPWH's multi-billion peso flood control projects. The body is tasked to conduct a comprehensive review, identify anomalies, and recommend sanctions to restore public trust. President Marcos said they are now studying the composition of the body, which will be formalized through an executive order. The chief executive also stressed the need for the body to be composed of forensic investigators, lawyers, justices, and prosecutors who will look at the evidence and information at hand and make the recommendation to either Department of Justice or DOJ or the Ombudsman, depending on who is found to be liable. President Marcos noted that anomalies were also discovered in the proposed 2026 national budget.
Yeah, that it basically that he took responsibility because it was under his, all of these things happened, all of these problems happened under his watch. So under the principle of command responsibility, he felt that he should be disposed. So, and why Vince Dizon? Because he's done a very good job sa DOTR. And I think he's already set the stage for all of the things that we need to do. So pwede na niyang iwanan and go to Public Works because he's also familiar with the workings of the Department of Public Works and Highways. We are putting together the EO that will create the independent commission. The independent commission will be the investigative arm. So that they will continue to investigate whatever information is received. It will be sent to them. They will investigate it, and they will make recommendations as to how to proceed. Whether kasuhan itong mga ito or i-ombudsman o dalhin sa DOJ, whatever it is. But they will recommend to the executive what to do with certain parties who have been found to be part of all of this corruption that's been going on, not only in flood control but all of the works of the workings within DPWH. Kasi unfortunately, the more we look, the more we find. Kahit sa 2026 budget, marami pa rin siningit. So talagang it really needs to be cleaned out properly.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. pledged on Tuesday to restore the country's status as a global shipbuilding hub, citing the revival of Subic's shipyard through HD Hyundai Heavy Industries Philippines Incorporated as the first step toward reclaiming its place among the world's top shipbuilding nations. The president said that from 2014 to 2018, the Philippines was among the world's top 5 shipbuilders, generating between 1.2 million and 2 million gross tonnage of boats per year. The Rather, this momentum faded in 2019 when Hyundai Heavy Industries Company Philippines Incorporated, or HHIC Phil, which previously employed over 30,000 people, declared bankruptcy, leaving the Subic shipyard idle and thousands unemployed. With Hyundai's return under a reformed corporation, President Marcos believes Subic is now set for a turnaround. The shipyard's capacity is planned to increase from 1.3 million to 2.5 million deadweight tons, tripling its ability to handle 4 to 5 huge tankers to up to 8. President Marcos estimates that by 2030, the yard will employ approximately 4,300 Filipinos. The Philippines continues to be a marine labor powerhouse, accounting for over 30% of all seafarers worldwide. President Marcos stated that expanding domestic shipbuilding, together with the country's competent seafaring personnel, would transform the Philippines into a complete maritime nation.
For decades, even centuries, the Philippines has given the world our finest seafarers. It is only fitting that we also supply the world with excellent vessels to sail on. As president, I take great pride in Filipino hands navigating the world's oceans. 30% of the world's seafarers are Filipino. These are diligent men and women whose skill and dedication keep the seafaring industry moving every single day. And to make this partnership succeed, we are working to match Hyundai's investment with a skilled workforce worthy of their trust. Today, we will begin reclaiming our rightful place among the world's great shipbuilding nations. I am excited to see where this endeavor will take us. Together, let us show the world that Filipinos have the skills, the vision to navigate the uncertain waters of an ever-changing world.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Tuesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said the country is 80% closer to achieving universal health care for all Filipinos, citing progress in building a system for accessible, affordable, and quality medical services. This as President Marcos visited Bataan General Hospital and Medical Center in Balanga, Bataan to assess the implementation of the Zero Balance Billing or ZBB program. President Marcos said zero balance billing is now implemented in 78 government-run hospitals, adding that around 2,976 patients from Bataan General Hospital and Medical Center are already benefiting from the program. The President also lauded the Bataan General Hospital and Medical Center for the successful implementation of zero balance billing by ensuring that patients are discharged without having to pay out of pocket. President Marcos said he is committed to fulfilling his aspiration for a successful universal health system. The chief executive also assured healthcare workers of continued government support. Under the ZBB program, all members of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth admitted to basic or ward accommodations in Department of Health or DOH's hospitals will not incur any out-of-pocket expenses for their hospitalization.
We are now in Bataan for the Bataan General to look at how the system is working. Meron silang bagong feature dito sa Bataan General. Imbis na zero billing pa rin, pero imbis na pipila sa kahera ang pasyente bago ma-discharge. Pag malapit na ma-discharge yung pasyente, hinahatid sa kanila yung kanilang zero billing. Another added convenience which I think we should adopt all around the country, and that's why I'm very happy that we are instituting this program. I think it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad malapit na tayo umabot talaga sa universal healthcare.
We are 80% of the way. Kulang na lang, kaunti na lang at matutupad na natin yung universal healthcare. My aspiration, of course, is to achieve the dream of universal healthcare for all our people. It's just a question of building up the economy so we can afford it, number one, and putting in the systems. The systems are all in place. Alam nyo naman mga health workers natin, mga doktor natin, mga nurse, wala nang kasing sipag sa mga yan.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday called on governors nationwide to help curb irregularities and ensure the proper implementation of government projects. President Marcos made the call as he led the oath-taking of the new set of officers of the League of Provinces of the Philippines or LPP, led by re-elected National President, South Cotabato Governor Reynaldo Tamayo Jr. in a ceremony at Malacañang Palace in Manila. In a keynote speech, President Marcos is optimistic the LPP will work with his administration in eradicating corruption in government, urging them to serve with integrity and expose any irregularities. President Marcos made the call amid thorough investigation into the flood control projects that led to the discovery of anomalous and ghost projects. The chief executive asked the LPP to serve as a guide, voice, and conscience in addressing pressing issues as part of efforts to build a bagong Pilipinas or new Philippines. President Marcos emphasized the importance of faster and improved government frontline services by harnessing new technologies such as artificial intelligence or AI, data analytics, and other innovations. President Marcos Jr. also hoped for the wider implementation of the Zero Balance Billing Program following its successful rollout in 78 Department of Health-run hospitals.
Ngayon, higit kailanman, kailangan ng bansang Pilipinas ang inyong pamumuno upang wakasan ang mga maling nakagisnan. Nagsimula pa lang ang laban at mahaba pa ang ating tatahakin. Umaasa ako na kasama namin kayo sa bawat hakbang, sa pagsusuri sa mga proyekto, sa pagsasaliwanag sa mga nakakukubli na kadliliman. Kaya't hinihikayat ko kayo, paglingkuran natin ng buong katapatan ng sambayanan. Tiyakin natin nasa wasto ang mga proyekto na ipinapatupad ng pambansang pamahalaan at ng lalawigan at isiwalat natin kung may makikitang taliwas. Kaya dahil ang pera ng sambayanan ay pera ng bayan, hindi sa pansariling interes. Nais ko rin banggitin na ipinapatupad na po natin ang ating zero balance billing. 78 DOH hospital na ang kasama. Sa ilalim ng programang ito, walang babayaran ng mga kababayan natin na nakakonfine sa basic o ward accommodation. Ang aking samo ay maging laganap din ito sa mga ospital sa ilalim ng lokal na pamahalaan, kung saan hindi kailangan maglabas ng pera ang mga naghihirap nating may sakit. Sa paraang ito, maitatag natin ang bagong Pilipinas kung saan ang bawat Pilipino ay may pagkakataong umunlad. May seguridad sa kinabukasan at may tiwala sa pamahalaan.
Over the next 3 years, the LPP aims to support the President's agenda by advocating for prior consultation with local government units in the implementation of national infrastructure projects to ensure accountability, transparency, and fairness. The LPP will also focus on solutions to the worsening solid waste management, frequent flooding caused by climate change, and funding for disaster preparedness. A primary goal of the LPP is to lobby the 20th Congress to amend the 1991 Local Government Code to update outdated provisions and enhance LGU fiscal autonomy. Other priorities include the full implementation of provincial functions under the Universal Healthcare Act and improving the delivery of quality social services to communities.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday signed Republic Act or RA 12253 or the Enhanced Fiscal Regime for Large-Scale Metallic Mining Act in a ceremony at Malacañang Palace to ensure an equitable share of mining revenues for the government. In a keynote speech, the president said the simplified fiscal regime for large-scale mining would make the mining infrastructure more robust and give the government a fair share from the extra profit.
Around the world, the demand for minerals is surging. These minerals are needed to service the new technologies for batteries, solar panels, other vital components of clean energy. Some even call these resources as the building blocks of a green and digital economy. We are blessed because the Philippines is rich in such resources. If the world needs these minerals, then we must make sure that our mining infrastructure is robust and that Filipinos, above all, benefit from it. With the signing of the Enhanced Fiscal Regime for Large-Scale Metallic Mining Act, we are putting into place a system that is fairer, that is clearer, and more responsive to the needs of both our people and the environment.
RA 12253 seeks to simplify and rationalize the fiscal regime for large-scale metallic mining, while upholding the principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance in the mining industry. With the signing of the law, the estimated revenue impact from 2026 to 2029 is projected at 25.08 billion pesos in total, or an average of 6.26 billion pesos annually. According to the law, around 10% of mining royalty from inside mineral reservations will be earmarked for the exploration by the Mines and Geosciences Bureau and the Metals Industry Research and Development Center for the establishment of mineral valuation laboratories and facilities, and for the acquisition of the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR tools funded from the retained BIR share of the Special Education Fund under Section 3 of RA 5447.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Thursday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. conferred the Order of Sikatuna on outgoing permanent representative to the United Nations, Antonio Manuel Lagdameo, and former Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA Chief Coordinator, Bernadette Therese Fernandez. The conferment ceremony was held during a joint courtesy call by Lagdameo and Fernandez on the President at Malacañang Palace in Manila. The Order of Sikatuna is the National Order of Diplomatic Merit conferred upon individuals who have rendered exceptional and meritorious service to the Republic of the Philippines. Lagdameo, who expressed his desire to retire from government service in May, will be replaced by former DFA Secretary Enrique Manalo, whose latest appointment was confirmed by the Commission on Appointments on Wednesday. Lagdameo was appointed the country's permanent representative to the UN in the United States in September of 2022. He held several diplomatic posts, serving as Philippine ambassador to London, the United Kingdom, and Northern Ireland from July 2009 to September 2010 and from June 2016 to July of 2022. He also worked as the Philippine ambassador to Madrid, Spain, and Andorra from August 2008 to July of 2009. He was also appointed ambassador to the U.S. and Mexico with concurrent jurisdiction over Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama from January 2007 to 2008. Fernandez, on the other hand, also served as the Philippines Consul General in Milan, Italy, and Deputy Consul General in Toronto, Canada. She was designated as Minister and Consul General at the Philippine Embassy in London from 2006 to 2012, and Second Secretary and Consul at the Philippine Embassy in Beijing from 1997 to 2003. In Manila, she was the Executive Director and Acting Assistant of the Office of the UN and International Organizations between 2014 and 2016, Director of the Office of European Affairs from 2013 to 2014, Acting Director and Director at the Office of Personnel and Administrative Services from 2003 to 2006, and Assistant Director and Acting Director at the Office of Asia-Pacific Affairs in 1997.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will hold a meeting with Cambodian Prime Minister Samdech Mohaborvor Thipaday Hunmanet and business leaders during his state visit to Cambodia from September 7 to 9, Malacañang announced on Thursday. In a statement, the palace said President Marcos, along with First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, will visit Cambodia upon the invitation of Cambodian King Preah Bat Samdech Preah Boromneth Norodom Sihamoni. It added that the president will hold a bilateral meeting with Hun Manet, Prime Minister of Cambodia, to discuss expanding cooperation in combating transnational crimes and enhancing connectivity, as well as in the key sectors of agriculture, higher education, tourism, and cultural cooperation between the two countries. Malacañang said President Marcos would also have a roundtable dialogue with key business leaders from both the Philippines and Cambodia to explore ways to diversify sources of goods and expand market access between the two nations. The business meeting, the palace said, also aims to increase bilateral and intra-Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN trade. President Marcos is also scheduled to meet with the Filipino community in Cambodia to personally express his gratitude for their contributions to the economic and socio-cultural development of both the Philippines and Cambodia. Cambodia currently serves as home to more than 7,000 Filipinos, most of whom work in the field of education and services. The chief executive's upcoming state visit to Cambodia reciprocates Hun Manet's official visit to the Philippines in February 2025. At least 8 agreements on key areas such as trade and investment, agriculture, education, tourism, and information and communications technology were signed during Hun Manet's visit to Manila. The Philippines and Cambodia established formal diplomatic relations on August 20th, 1957.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is live on audio streaming. Just download eVox PBS receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.